But the problem with these shootouts is that before we can formulate a plan, people want to do their own fucking hero shit, and then they get shot fucking down. They get shot down, and then we get shot down trying to save them, and then it just turns into a whole bunch of mess. So I'm of the mindset if motherfuckers are saying we're doing a plan, unless high command is going over your head and saying go, you had to talk to these individuals, and it's a repeat occurrence. They have to be punished. That is my.
What I don't like is people rolling in before we made the plan to roll in and start telling them to put their guns away. That like, we already know. Marcel brought this up to me. It's obvious when we do that, that's gonna put people in a corner. And when you put a caged animal in a fucking corner, they're either gonna lash out, more than likely they will. And is what's happening every fucking time. And we're not prepared for the worst case scenario, which is an issue. And then you have people who will just roll right in, start blaring on the mega on the horn, telling them, hey, put the guns away, you're gonna get shot. Whereas we're not nowhere ready. We haven't cleared rooftops.
We didn't even have fucking we didn't even have units there to.
And then I'm being told by high command.
Who did this?
I was leading it, but Turner Chief was like, we gotta go in, we gotta go in. I said, okay, fuck it. If we gotta go in, we gotta go in. But I didn't get any time to set up. I was waiting for Air 1. And when Air 1 got in, there was already units rolling in with lights and sirens, using their horn, telling them to put their guns away, they're going to get shot. We were not ready for that. If we can't back up what we're telling people, if they're going to get shot, right, they're going to shoot us right away. And if we're not ready for it, we're going to be in the vehicles, we're going to be trying to get the positions. It's always going to end up in a massacre. It's clear as day.
Well, that's, if the chief said that's something above my pay grade, that's something we can bring. I mean,
it's not though. No. Like I already talked to the chief about this. He said if I say some shit and you guys as TRT have an idea or think you know better, fucking tell me to shut up. You know, that's his own fucking words, right?
You should shut up.
If you need to 10-3 him and say no, we're setting this shit up first, just fucking do it. I mean, like
I feel that, but in the line of when shit is happening, nobody's thinking about that in that moment. When you're looking at 4 guys with AKs on a rooftop aiming at officers, nobody's thinking like, Chief told me to do this in this certain situation. Because I feel like that would have happened, you know what I'm saying? If that was like how people felt. I don't know about y'all as a regular officer. I'm like, damn, a blind man could see that we rushing this for no reason. Like, none of them were in the vehicles. We had line of sight on 4 of them. We knew that one was still putting shit and getting shit from the truck. You know, that leaves other possible people that we need to be on the lookout for. We had exits covered. I feel like we needed more like time to assess the situation on the rooftop and the people that were on the ground talking to like the other individual there. Because like we don't know what they were saying. That you know.
So this is just to cut you off. This is what I want you guys to do for every bank truck now.
Speak a bit, Romello, please.
I am stuck in my pockets. I'm looking at taser cartridges right now. Can you hear me?
No, I'm gonna come closer.
Yeah, come closer. I'm stuck in my pockets.
I said, we'll wait until everyone comes in before we start moving on. This is just some chatter.
Not a lot of people are going to come, but I just, because I trust you guys, just make sure when we're going on these bank trucks and you're part of these bank trucks, the best thing to do is have Air 1 overhead before you even fucking roll in. Air 1's always going to come. Who
That's
cares?
what I said.
Give them that extra time to get some shit out. Maybe that's going to stop the shootout from happening and it's a chase. Just make sure you get Air 1. Because if you're rolling in without, you know, from what I'm hearing, it sounded like they rolled in, Marcus, before you even had like a foothold of what the fuck.
Air 1.
Air 1 always, let me just finish. Air 1 always has a pull in first. And if you're on these calls, I need you guys to emphasize, wait till Air 1's overhead, and then we'll formulate a plan of attack. Because you're just fucking rolling into fucking forum, and Air 1 doesn't know where everyone's at. You get a shot, then you scream. I got on radio. All I heard was fucking people being like, "Where are they? Where are they?"
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out where they are. And that's because you didn't have the time to scout out the area.
Yeah. I agree.
Not even that.
So
Not even, I had told them where they were. I told them where they were. They asked me again where they are. I told them they're in the same exact place I just told them they are. But above that, I think it's just because I had a plan I wanted to roll out, right? I had something. I was going to get 4 people up on that brown roof to at least counter the people on the roof, so then we can get people in through the front door. But before I could roll that plan out, already like 4 to 5 people had gone down. And so from there, it's just fucked. And I can't really do much because everyone is under a like sunroof shade to where I can't see who is who. And then while I'm looking at that, someone else is flanking on Mosley's. So it's literally just it's just being more organized and being a little bit more patient with shit, right? We had cover, we had all that shit. We had places to where we can kind of just sit and wait and talk for not like forever, but like a minute or two about how we want to fucking roll this shit out, right? We had so many different things we could do. We could have got a Cara and rammed the fucking bank truck out of the way and then pushed in from both sides. Like, I think the big thing we need to emphasize to people is try to be more calm in these situations. Like,
that's the plan. I initially so what I wanted to get to was
can I finish what I was saying?
Sure.
Thank you. I think we just need to get better at telling people to stop talking constantly on the radio, and that should calm them down as well. Like, quite often you're not hearing who the C leads are, or Air One. There's just a bunch of people shouting, someone's looking at me, someone's peeking over the radio, and all that does is build more excitement and adrenaline in other people, right? I think we just need to get a bit more comfortable with 10-3 in people. Because at the end of the day, there's just a whole lot of yapping when there shouldn't be, really.
Yeah.
Have you spoken at all, Chief?
No, not yet.
Okay. You want me to, or you want to?
Go ahead.
I will tell you firsthand what my experience was with that. Hold on, let me turn off the radio. Air One is the most important thing, and PD communication is something we need to be superior at, the best. That is ultimately what should separate us from the criminals, is our ability to communicate and relay information professionally. In that specific situation, Air One comms were absolutely horrible. I'm not going to hold back, Wade. Like I'm just going to kind of shoot.
I agree.
Like I'm not like this isn't a knock on you, but
no, I agree.
So in that situation, if somebody's flying Air One, the passenger needs to be relaying information. Also, if you're a passenger at that point, you need to be calling out the points that we need to be looking over. I mean, we had people shooting from Mosley's, like that wasn't cleared. We had people shooting. We had people that were called out in a different location that weren't shooting, but were just randomly called out. Like, our comms need to be better in that situation, and it's kind of Air One's responsibility to say break. I mean, fuck, you shouldn't have to say shut the fuck up. But if you need to direct officers to get them to the points where they need to go, like that needs to happen.
Can I give you my perspective from what happened? So from my perspective, right? So I'd called out. So the two people on the roof, the two people on the ground inside the complex, I had called out. While I was formulating the plan, we had already started pushing in. And people were going down to where I could no longer roll that plan out. As I was looking over because the angle Air One was at, I couldn't see Mosley's at the current time. Whilst I was looking over the main area of the complex is when that guy climbed up on Mosley's. I think my big thing, I should have had someone either go up on Mosley's or maybe stay a little bit out of it. So that, yeah, I do still think my comms were shit. I could have done a little more. But it's also like a thing of, if I'm calling people out like 3 or 4 times, I should be able to go look over somewhere else real quick to make sure that we're clear without having, like, you know what I mean, people asking me again for the information of what the fuck I literally just called out 5 seconds ago.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hold on, Omar. The thing is, in that situation, when you're doing comms and Spectre does comms, it raises confusion. And I guarantee you that people didn't know in that situation who was making the calls. So when he calls shit out, it's just going to confuse people. And then when people get confused, other people are going to chime in. And then it ultimately creates this clusterfuck of everybody on the ground being like, I'm going to tell everyone what's going on. Like, it's your responsibility to just, calm down, break everyone. You take the comms. I understand.
Everyone should have been the main voice
in that situation, but we were getting like we rolled in and it was like they just opened fire, and then we had to move in from there. And then from there, it's kind of your job to adapt to that situation, throw everything out the window, and just direct people on where they need to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes,
what up, Jack?
I think the problem was they were shooting, and we are only focusing on these people we saw on the start, and we were, because Air 1 was not on the place, we didn't see people on the Saints block and the person on the church on the roof immediately.
Yeah.
And because of that, a couple of our units were ambushed because of that.
Right.
I think
I don't believe they were there right off the bat. I think they moved around quite a
Definitely.
bit.
They
They're
were
very,
not.
very active.
I thermal scanned every single rooftop around that area. I thermal scanned before the shooting happened.
I want to say, me and Rupert immediately when was the call, the units are pushing the buildings. We literally go there immediately before you guys were on the roof.
Hi, my boy with the 9-month primer.
And the other guy was already on the church because when I was trying to flank him,
Thank you,
the guy
Ty.
on the
Show
Saints
some love
block,
to Ty.
the guy
9
from
months.
the church was flanking me and Rupert, who was trying to help me.
When you say Saints Walk, you're referring to the north part of Forum Drive, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Ty. Appreciate you, brother, man.
Jack's talking about Caddy Corner to Mosley's.
Yeah, you know, like there's a skip that people are using.
Yeah,
like
the little
driving,
ramp.
Yeah, and the buildings around them, like with the roofs, there was one roof was occupied by the guy with the white shirt, and he was already there before.
It was a ton of stuff. The biggest takeaway is...
How am I the lead and I'm not getting to talk? Let me say my piece. I just want to say my input. That's all. I just want to say, like, here's what I saw that I think needs to be done better.
Especially Spectre, but it's like your job to kind of like direct the shit. I understand. Again, you were trying to get
let me at least give my input. I'm gonna wait for them to finish.
You got to kind of tell people to 10-3 and you're Air 1, and this is what we're going to do in that situation. I mean, shit happens. It's like, let's just fucking learn from it and move forward.
Yeah.
The punishment was more the beginning. I'm not using that
If I
for the rest of
may,
it. That was just the start.
From the get-go.
After that, I should have done better.
I don't put the blame solely on you, right? It falls onto lead, and then it comes onto me when I was trying to make the plan, right? I wanted to hold perimeter until we got Air 1 overhead. Unfortunately, 2 units decided to go in and drive straight by the block, so we decided to narrow the perimeter a little bit closer to the forum alleys themselves, so we can try to keep visual, keep eyes on suspects, call them out until Air 1 shows up. And then while Air 1 came over, was giving comms, I can't remember who it was, but a couple units decided to go in immediately and started using the megaphones, telling them to put their guns away or they will be shot. Now, I have no issue with the commands. My issue is the timeline of when we decided to issue those commands. If we issue them before we, as a police force, are ready, we have visual and we know where suspects are, and we decide to roll in before we are prepared, and we tell them to put their weapons away, it's like forcing an animal into a corner. It's going to lead to them escalating on us, and if we're not ready, we're going to fall into the same issue we fall into now and in previous times. What's up, D?
Do you know who those units were? Because you should just have a brief chat with them on the side so that they learn from it, you know?
I think it was BCSO. I can't tell you exactly who it was, but at that time when they rolled in, that escalates the timeline of events very, very much so, to the point where we were not ready to deal with any form of retaliation. We weren't prepared, and like you guys outlined, right, there was other suspects that we still, because Air 1 was rushed. Air 1 didn't have the full time to clear all rooftops, and even if they did clear the rooftops, the suspects moved around. We would have noticed them if we had the appropriate units at the points where I was trying to get units to. It's unfortunate, but the command was made, right, to go in. Chief, you made the call for us to go in. Command? It was Chief.
Yeah.
And I understand that there is timeline and importance. However, when we need to also look at the, is it worth it, that current moment right then and there for us to go in, and what will it lead to? Is it going to lead to officers getting shot? We have to consider officer safety to an extent, but at the same time, we have to neutralize the threat.
I mean, officer safety is never going to get any higher with how many units we had there. We had 8 units plus Air 1. We had call-outs locations.
Not all call-outs, not all locations. I disagree with you on that.
I think just so we don't talk in
that's all in
circles.
hindsight.
Sure.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Obo. Just not to talk in circles. I think all of us here, when we are attaching to these bank trucks, just make sure it may take an extra minute or so, extra 2-3 minutes. Just make sure Air 1 is fully scoping the area. Like, if a bank truck's on the hill, we're all waiting for Air 1 to get there before we roll in and we issue commands. Just make sure Air 1 does a sweep, just so we know what we're initially going to deal with. Obviously, things are going to change, but to roll in without Air 1 having a precise thing is just bad.
We did roll in with Air 1. Air 1 did do a sweep
so I had done a sweep. We rolled in. My main issue with Air 1 is the people I could see I had already called out. The people that flanked, for example, the Mosleys and the church, I did not know were there. So I wasn't able to give I can't give comms on what I can't see. So whether that's me just needing to do a better job of sweeping or going around, I could do that. But I can't just like, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and just keep relaying comms already relayed, right? I'm going to look for the next comm that I need to give out. And also, I don't mind people on the ground. Like, if you see someone that hasn't been called out or that has been called out, just, yeah, fucking call them out if you're on the ground. Like, that's not a problem, right? Like, but at the same time, it's people doing shit like, I think the big thing is people doing shit like what Omar said, right? That's a big thing. Just doing shit before you've been not authorized to do it, but before anyone has really pushed us in that direction.
Yeah,
And that's not.
Sorry, I just wanted to add on to the Air 1 point. It's easy, right, in certain areas where we can have Air 1 just come in, do a quick sweep, and we will have eyes on. In that exact area, it is quite a difficult location because there are so many different locations like they did. They ended up going to the church, like Jack mentioned. They ended up going to Mosley's. What I think we could do moving forward that could be better is the second Air 1 calls somebody, we need to have confirmation from ground units that they have eyes on the suspect. And that person is in charge of keeping eyes on that suspect in case they decide to move to another area while Air 1 sweeps other locations.
I think that's completely unrealistic.
That what, yeah.
Majority of the time, Air 1's going to have eyes on angles that you'll never be able to see from the ground. We just need to keep communication up. That's really what it is. People need to keep communications clear. Let Air 1 give out the information, and people need to take note of it. A lot of times they're going to be on rooftops behind barriers that we'll never see them from. It's not possible.
But it's more than that.
There's
we went in there with like nothing. We knew they were on roofs. There's
no
so
eyes.
many roofs that we could have taken
Yes.
that we did not take. Our whole idea was to rush in from the ground, and by not taking Mosey's, by not taking any of the apartments across, we created a kill zone for everyone that pushed in.
I don't know how that's unrealistic.
Because there's people above us. There was one on ground level in the compound, so we couldn't push into the compound. But pushing out onto the street was a death trap because there was a guy on Mosley's because we didn't have anyone on Mosley's. We can blame this on Air 1 all we want, but realistically, they cannot at all times keep eyes on every single fucking angle because there's too much to cover. So if we had taken position rather than just going in, would it have ended differently? I don't know. I can't predict outcomes that haven't happened, but it would have given us a better chance.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to blame it on Air 1, but it's at the end of the day not all
the
Air 1.
blame's not purely being put on Air 1.
Well, and I don't even think
areas where we can improve.
I don't feel like this is a blame thing either. Sorry, D. I think that the biggest thing is pointing out what we know we learned from this, right? We want to make sure we get rooftops nearby, surround the area, and because even when Air 1 stopped doing call outs, and again, it's not on Air 1, officers were shot down that pushed in. Air 1 went after cars, and I'm hiding under a building. Like, we did not have anybody on roofs to see. We need to have units on roofs to give call outs because Air 1 cannot see everything. We have to support Air 1 as Air 1 supports us, period. So yeah, the biggest thing is like, learning the area where it is and then setting up properly. And we're not always going to win them. That's fine. We just have to keep improving every time that we do them.
I think the other big thing is we got to be a little calmer in terms of how we do stuff. Like if we go in with a plan, we're going to have that little bit more confidence to at least, okay, we know what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like even if the plan doesn't work, even if we still get fucking slapped around, like we kind of have an idea to know what we're doing. And then that way it makes it easier on everyone. It makes it easier on Air 1 to know why people are doing what they're doing. It makes it easier on the people on the ground to know where they need to be. So yeah, just that little bit more calm in the process, I think will help us a lot.
Can we, rather, I don't want to be this guy, but can we just have like one or two clear actions that we all agree that we'll try and implement going forward rather than it just go back
I
and
don't think
forth.
it's a 1 or 2 action thing. I think
Well,
because
what did
everything's
I point out,
situational,
D?
right?
What did I point out? Taking rooftops.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Yeah, I just hate this idea of us
Okay.
trying to solve Ball the Ocean all at once. We're never.
But
gonna
we all
get
know
there.
that. We all know we need to have a better view. Air One can't do it all. We need to surround the area, just like they did. What did they do? They took Mosley's because they knew that was another option if we got the roof.
It's
We just have to
disrespectful.
outsmart them in that manner, right?
If I may suggest, I think we could also do with training. Not only just for TRT, but for everyone. Officers are more than welcome to come join, but it's good for us to have some, like, I don't know if you guys can see the projector, but I just threw up the TAC map that Kingsman has. It's a good thing to have. I know not a lot of officers have taken a look at it, but it's good for us to actually implement it into the field with training. Some days we just take 30 minutes, an hour, we go to locations where we
should be, yes.
And we can practice something. So when we arrive there and it's actually happening, we can jump into action without having to take time with planning and figuring things out. We already have a preset plan. We adapt it to the situation at hand and we move forward. I think that's something we definitely should try to do.
For the record, anybody is able to do training of any kind within LSPD, and I'm sure BCSO is on the same page.
But it's just the locations, right? It's forum would be kind of hard.
And I know that. But at the end of the day, training on working together, communicating is always going to improve these type of situations.
Yeah.
It will always improve it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're good. Otherwise, we're just going to be
I agree.
head into a wall.